ladies and gentlefolk, boys and girls. Marshall here. And I bring you a game that I haven't really casted on this map before. Let's see how we go. It's a 1 versus 1. And we've got Smurf versus Ptasior, so very high level game. And it's Devil's Causeway. As I said, I've never casted a Devil's Causeway game before, as you can see by me looking around. You've got your players and 2 very narrow land routes between, so taking and holding choke points is going to be valuable here. You've got one with resources, a little side one without. On the other side of the map, though, you've got resource-rich islands and a bunch of lava. So air control around the rear is going to be vital for success. Let's zoom in and have a look. Smurf here. Bots, air, double vehicles. Holding choke points is going to be much more viable with vehicles. 3 fabs and a firefly. Maybe we'll see pelicans early. Let's go and have a look. Nope, hummingbirds straight out of the gate. Ptasior, though, likewise. Bots, air, vehicle, air. So 2 air versus 2 vehicle so far. And going into proxy factories from Smurf. So Ptasior, in theory, could get the advantage in the air, but it all comes down to micro as well. It's not just about numbers. Strategy, my friends. Strategy plays its part. Scouting here from Ptasior, trying to see what the factory layout is. Does he see more air factories? Does he see many vehicles? Does he see many bots? He's just having a look and then running away, keeping the firefly alive. That's key. Sees a vehicle. But understanding the ratio is going to be key for Ptasior, especially considering he's gone double air. So he's going to want to keep an eye on that, and you can see that in the bottom there. Military coming out from Smurf to guard his proxies up front. It's actually quite a travel distance to these expansions, and the actual individual nodes of those expansions are quite spread out. So holding them relies on the choke point. Round the side here, sometimes players tend to like putting up a teleporter or so over here. There's no resources to grant you vision, so you just got to watch out for it. Of course, something I haven't mentioned that is a viable approach on this map would be drifters. Drifters, of course, can go over lava. Vehicles. And they can go from island to island. And that's where players are going to be wanting to put in point defense on those islands. To guard those resources. Aha! Transport and a fab. Gets down and away. Transport goes, but the fab survives. Ptasior knows the fab is there. Maybe a drifter, maybe a bumblebee, maybe an Icarus. Have to keep a track of that. Going straight for anti-air is most wise. You can guarantee that when someone scouts a fabricator of yours on a resource and strategic hotspot, they're going to be wanting to try and take it out. So having this here, is it going to get up in time? Just about. Rather close, though. And there we are. We'll be having a look. Finds the fab. Survives. There we go. Smurf takes island numero uno. And further locking down chokes. Rather than going all the way forward and overextending, gradually, slowly, catchy monkey. Notice there was originally a factory queued up here, but instead saw the opportunity place down a turret and go and place a factory up here. Drifters, there we are. So that could mean, if drifters come out here, that they could go through this little lava pool there. Surprise Ptasior. Ptasior, though, coming down the middle now, trying to claim it. Moving radar forward gradually. That's good. Smurf does not have that cover. Ptasior, however, can see what there is. Smurf not. Superior force yet to be found. Drifter wandering through. This is going to ruin that element of surprise, unfortunately, with a drifter wandering through like this, but can't always maintain it. Bit of a shame there. Let's have a look on the other side. Fabricator goes down. Drifters have wandered across. There we are. So what we'll do, rather than looking at bases, is we'll look at it like this. There. So that's currently the map view that we're going to be looking at. Like that. There we go. Unfortunately, the Fabber survives! It survives! Ptasior, let it go! Ptasior, let it go! Bumblebee's gone down as well. Nice picks there from Smurf. Units still fighting on the front lines. Walls going up. Ptasior trying to hold the line. Pelter's coming up now from Smurf. Also holding his line. Keeping this choke there. The two vehicles from Ptasior, interesting. Against bots from Smurf. Now, bots have Locusts. Locusts can go over lava. T2 vehicles have the Sheller. Will help in entrenched positions like this. T2 bots also have snipers and Blue Hawks. Both getting them out at the same time here. This is pretty even Stevens, all things considered. Ptasior slightly ahead in the economic game. But Smurf there in the production. Interesting use of teleporter as well. Reducing the movement speed of vehicles to get to the front lines. That Pelter there, projecting pressure. How will Ptasior respond to this? He doesn't have the units, and the radar exists for Smurf. He knows that there aren't the numbers, and sees an opportunity to push in. There we go. Couple of Fabs will get taken out here. The teleporter only just survived. Will we get some T2 units through? There we do. A leveler. 2, 3. To the rescue on the front line. And they run away! Where are you going? The fighting is this way! Yes. That's right, turn tail and wander. I wonder if the rally point for that teleporter is a bit wonky. There we go, let's get some Locusts out here. We see a few. Ptasior knows bumblebees aren't great against them, but he sees them. He's going to mobilize some units to defend the base here. In we wander. Nabbing a bits of metal here and there into the base. Can we get some power gens? No! The docks get rid of them. One radar and one metal extractor go down. And that is all it is for now. T2 bots starting to add pressure to this front line. More levelers coming through from Ptasior. Evening up the stakes. Needs some shellers on that front line. Maybe even a vanguard. There it is. Let's get them flowing. Drifters occupying the islands. Smurf keeping that economic advantage. Keeping the islands and using air fabricators to do it. Very nice there. While all the focus is on the defensive for Ptasior. Taking the opportunity with some airfabs. That being said, I just saw some airfabs from Ptasior on the other side. Often there's a bit of tug of war and give and take on these islands. Especially on Devil's Causeway. Angel's Causeway, of course, is all flooded. So it's more naval than air and hover. Over we go. Has a scout. Bumblebees go down. has a look around, looking for those air fabs, and we'll find them. Down they go. Vanguards at the ready. We've got some not ghillies, whatchamacallums, Blue Hawks, there you go. Vanguard at the front there, soaking up the damage. Need another one. Pelters doing work, wandering into a defensive pelter line there, unwise. All we need now are some sniper bots covering the retreat. Other pelters wandered too far into the sights. Did Ptasior, losing a huge number of T2 vehicles there unnecessarily for very little gain. But the spaghetti, all levelers now bar one are gone, and Smurf circumventing. How did that happen? He must have wandered around the outside, round the outside, round the outside. He did. And this is the tricky thing about this side route. You've got to be careful. You can't just rely on someone going for resources. They might go for the sneaky back entrance. Not the most comfortable of entrances, but there you go. Very potent for the aggressor. T2 economy now coming up for Smurf plus islands. Ptasior yet to really fight back on those. Drifters ready to come in on the beaches here as well for Ptasior. Not looking good. Struggling with the army count there. 70 plays 100. Looks like a lot of focus in the air game might be is undoing 2 air factories there. Plays just the one. Just the one. Looks like by and large air is less of a factor now, but Ptasior does have the larger air force. Once he goes around for a while and finds that Smurf does not have an air force to contend, I'm sure Ptasior might start switching to bumblebees. In fact, he will need to. Or something to deal with this. There's a lot of spinners in the force. A lot of spinners in there for anti-air cover. There you go, he sees it. He sees this force coming in. He knows he has to rally. Going T2 bots to try and get some snipers to deal with the Blue Hawks. That will protect his T2 vehicles a little bit more. Rather than pushing out, he's going to wait for Smurf to come to him. There you go. Get a leveler. Let's have a gander. Keep your eyes on those islands in the bottom picture-in-picture. I see a lot of drifters moving across that could potentially move in on the beaches. Top picture-in-picture there. Smurf pulling away. Drifters coming in, getting absolutely obliterated by levelers though. Still amassing on this side. The radar does see it. Not that any units have moved to cover it just yet. Smurf sees an opportunity to try and take some resources in the middle. T2 vehicles coming up as well. Both players mirroring here. Ptasior still lower on the unit count. And do not forget that a lot of those, 29 of that 73, more or less, are hummingbirds. So you can take fighting forces at more or less 45, give or take. Not great news when you're fighting 130 odd ground units. Ah. Drifters come in. Found another weak spot. Just picking away, being a nuisance. Don't need to do more than that. Just wander in, remind Ptasior that he has not got safety at home. More units wandering in now. Ptasior still on the defensive. How long can he hold out? If I was a betting man, it's not looking good for Ptasior, but it's a long game. Anything could yet happen. Surprise strategies could upset the game. few well-placed Locusts could send Smurf back to the Stone Age. Perhaps that is an approach that Ptasior will use once he defends his island. His start here. But he has to get his units in order. We've got the snipers there now to defend against the Blue Hawks. There we are, the missiles getting picked out of the sky. Not all of them, there's only 3 snipers and plenty more Blue Hawks at that. The Vanguard defends against any forward radar positions. Levelers are getting microed out of existence though. There we go. Starting to get good coverage against those volleys. Oh, the Blue Hawks! The Blue Hawks end last, they're all gone! Bit of a miss micro there. But another little force here, look, another one! And the commander's close. He's going to need to run away. Is the army going to rout home or is it going to push in? Does Smurf smell blood from that commander? Quite possibly. Snipers there defending against the missiles. The slammer goes down, the Blue Hawks are down. We have defense of the realm once again. Ptasior, though, taking islands. More air fabricators from Smurf trying to counter-take more islands. Drifters from Ptasior, though, could knock out this factory. And if they do, that will be quite big because that prevents all of these drifter staging posts. Gives him a little bit more respite at home. And he needs that right now. Using this little bit of counter-pressure to put Smurf back on the back foot. A moment ago it looked a bit precarious for Smurf, but now, Ptasior rather, but now it's looking quite healthy and flexible. The tables have turned, and for anyone who has ever thought it's how the turntables, you are wrong. No matter what you hear on TikTok, it is how the tables have turned, not the turntables. This is a bugbear of mine. Use idioms correctly. Aha. Locusts. Locusts. I want some noms straight in here to these ooh, lots of air factories for Smurf. But yes, I was going to say, some well-placed Locusts could take out a lot of these T1 infrastructure. We have got some T2 power there. T2 Mex is quite healthy against Locust, so try to avoid it. Drifters coming in again, just 1 or 2, just being a little bit of a nuisance. Nothing more is needed. This is looking like a healthy group of Locusts now. The Air Scouts, does it see the Locusts? Hard to tell. Maybe caught a glimpse of one. But really, you need a good 10 to 15 to make a huge dent. We're going with 7 or 6. We're going with 6. There's another one up here. What are you doing? There's another one. There's another one. Don't leave little Timmy behind. Now, how many of my recent casts where Locusts have featured have I said, don't just send Locusts in blind? Quite often pros will do this. They'll hit and hope with their Locusts, or if you're a Counter-Strike player, spray and pray. You've got to get the vision. You've got to get the scouting. You've got to know where to go and where to avoid. Look at this. Look at this. This is brilliant. Locusts coming in for the Blue Hawks. Unwise, though, because those missiles guide. And into the infrastructure we go. Nom, 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 nom. Factories go down. Look at that. T2 Mex taking the punishment. Factories down still. T-Ton power. It's going down. Factories in the base for Smurf. Getting absolutely rinsed there. Tasty, tasty main meal. Will Ptasior come back for dessert? Or is Smurf going to serve up his pièce de résistance and give Ptasior indigestion? Let's find out. We're still not at the end of the game. Lots of vanguards on the front and the shellers as well now. For Smurf, holding the forward choke. The air there to give the vision for the sheller and the sniper. The last Locust goes down. Little Timmy says goodbye. The anti-air coverage is there. Lots of vanguards up the front. Shellers coming back. Falling back to the pelter line. Don't die in a ditch over 4 mechs. It is not worth it. If you don't have to, don't do it. There we are. And likewise, Ptasior is not overextending. Falls back. Ah. A little bit of Smurf's own medicine against him here with this little force. Little force. Going to see what it can do around the back. Reckon it'll do a little bit of damage. Not a huge amount, but then again doesn't need to. And look at this Smurf now. Turrets all along the line. The beach line. Excuse me, princess. What is this? Why have we got Orbital? I don't believe it. Maybe just for vision. Possibly for anchor coverage of the islands or the center. That's going to make things interesting. What? He's done the same thing! What is this? He didn't even know! He had no idea! These two are connected at another level. Potentially, we're going to have some anchor creeping. Potentially, we're going to have some eyes in the sky. But that was placed way too far forward. What is it doing there? I mean, in the base, I could maybe understand it. But there? It's almost like a taunt, isn't it? It's like, hello, target practice. And down it goes. Smurf now looking rather healthy on this front. Lots of docks to supplement as a fodder for snipers, perhaps. Forcing micro from your enemy if you put in fodder. If everything is a unit that you don't want to lose, then everything is good for the killing. If you put in fodder, you force your opponent to micro, which takes away from their wider control. An ability to macro. Bumblebee's coming in, taking out the snipers there from the back. Survives one more hit. Down it goes. Ptasior there, definitely overextended a little bit. He could be punished now by Smurf, but are we getting enough units to counter that? Both players struggling a little bit. What is this? I haven't really got much to say at the moment, really. Ptasior trying to muster a few units, trying to get his infrastructure in order, trying to get some T2 eco in his base to replenish his units here. Smurf also overextending a little too much here, but that being said, mutual annihilation on the front prevents any counterattack. And what is also going to happen here is enough of the defenders of this front line are going to be destroyed to allow the follow-up force. Smurf's wave 2. Batten down the hatches, Ptasior. Something else is coming. Should have enough here to deal with it. He's got some snipers, some vanguards, some levelers. And almost a third T2 vehicle factory. And an Aries going up as well. In the queue, we've got a Titan, ladies and gents. boys and girls. I know we haven't looked at Smurf space in a while, but we'll go and get there in just a second. That Vanguard is looking mighty close to that vehicle factory, but there we go. Down it goes. Looking in Smurf's base. Drifters still trying to push in. T2 Air exists now. Kestrels could be a problem for the island expansions. Another orbital What is going on with these orbital launchers, ladies and gentlemen? Smurf, what are you doing? A second orbital launcher. I mean, personally, I can see the idea of the anchor creeping and holding the islands with anchors, but that's nuts, this game. We've got Kestrels in quite a large air force now, and Ptasior lacks any air force. Ptasior's air force is 9 hummingbirds. 9 hummingbirds strong against that. That's like when you play StarCraft 2 and you go, I've got a Phoenix! And the enemy wanders in with about 10 Void Rays and you think, oh. Oh. Oh dear. I miscalculated. But there we go. And that is another example of Ptasior overextending a little bit. Yes, he's got T2 Eco on the front line. Yes, he has a follow-up defensive force, but I think both players really are licking their wounds right now. Neither wants to commit to an attack because neither really have a lot of ground troops. Okay. Transport just goes and scouts. Makes all of the sense in the world. That Air Force is scary. Ptasior should be worried about that. Really should be worried about that. He doesn't really have a lot of anti-air either. Oh, well, I say that. I just see a lot of panic anti-air going up. Yeah, look at this. Panic anti-air everywhere around the base now. All the way along, exercising a zone of control. Now, this is a good idea. Building Galata over your advancing army prevents the Air Force from coming to support. Watch this. All Ptasior has to do now is sit over the Galata. He's got a lot of spinners in that army. But he needs to go back to his Galata. Don't overextend. The Air Force is there. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Go back. Retreat. Don't push in. Don't overextend. You don't need to. You don't need to. Lots of spinners, though. Getting picked off unnecessarily here. Shellers from the back, maybe taking out the pelters. Can they focus them down? Down they go. One more. 2 left. The Air Force is still there, exercising caution. And in it comes. Oh, maybe not. Still see spinners. There we are. And such was this engagement. The Aries, 60% complete more or less, 65. What is Smurf doing in his base? Does he have an orbital factory? It was taken out by Avengers. So we just got Avengers chasing each other in orbital space. Because why not? On a single planet game, have Avengers chasing each other in the orbital space. Drifters breaking through the defensive lines. Bait and switch, here's a lot of air. Puts up a load of Galata. Oh wait, no, I'm going to attack you with tanks instead. Commander forced into action. Couple of levelers situated around. Should just about be able to help with this. Just has to be resolute in picking a target there. Doesn't really get any more shots off. That's quite something. Still no Titans from Smurf. In comes the air. Sees the Galata. Thinks, oh, no, thank you. Can Ptasior defend that zone of control, though? He's not committing to it. He's falling back. I mean, it makes sense, I suppose, if you're not confident in your unit counts and if you're getting attacked at the back. God, how many times have we traded these islands now, but the drifters are still posing a threat from the rear. Now, I wonder, why do we see Pelicans in an air factory? Are we maybe thinking about Vanguard dropping? I don't know. But that Aries is going to turn things on their head. It's ready. That will be powerful at dealing with this choke. It just has to sit back and shoot. And all Ptasior has to do is sit anti-air next to it, and it will not be touched by any of this air, completely negating Smurf's trump card at this point in the game. Here we go. Let's have a look at what Smurf can see. Lots of AA. Needs some orbital scouts, some Hermes to come out, I think. Would be good. Here we go. Let's have a look. Sees the Vanguard, sees some big shots. And must be thinking, oh no. I know what that is. I know what that is. Run away fast. It's shooting at me from within the fog of war. Now, this is where you have these geographic features here. Put the pelters behind it. Pelters can fire with impunity. That is exactly why you have these mountains here, these rocks. Now look at this. Cover the line. Giving a line command, thinning out his forces so that Aries shots do little damage per hit, and this is a waste of resources. There's no way the Aries is going to be baited into that. Airfon wanders over. Not wise. Aries getting a little close. Oh my word. What can Ptasior see? A lot. That's the range of your Aries. In comes the air. Still sees a lot of anti-air. The Kestrels are ready. The Bumblebees also need to focus down the Spinners. That's what he needs to do. Trying desperately to kill off that Aries, though. Getting very, very close to that T3 turret. What are you doing, Aries? Get back out of the way. It's gone. It's gone. The Aries is gone and it took the army with it. What is that? It squashed his brothers. Oh, Smurf must be laughing. Oh, Ptasior, that was a blunder and a half. That was your opportunity and it's gone, and there's a counter Aries in the pipeline. Oh dear, oh dear. The air is thinking, well, am I still needed? Panic over. And now it is Ptasior who is thinning out his forces across a line. Smurf, now on the offensive. This is a tug of war of insane proportions. Are we getting any more Titans on the back? Drifters still trying to chug in to the back of Ptasior's base there from Smurf. Gradually picking away, just being annoying. Not enough to win the game, but enough to take Ptasior's attention. Enough to divert forces. Over time, that all adds up. We've got... T2 vehicle managed to get there? Ptasior, if you get a T2 vehicle there, the first thing you do is not build T2 mechs. The first thing you do is defend yourself when there's drifters around, man. A flak is not going to shoot at a drifter. Oh, please. Please build some turrets here, Ptasior. Please, come on. Nah. Yes. Yes. Oh, the drifters. Drifters blundered. Heal it. Heal it. Oh, it's gone. Never mind. What a shame. I don't know. I get excited over small things. Small joys in life. Aries for Smurf now. Up to 47%. We've got an orbital factory with an advanced radar satellite coming out. I thought it was an Arcade there for a second, but I think that's something different completely. And an Omega. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yes. Sometimes all I can do is make noises. You probably know that by now. Oh my word. So, what do we think Ptasior is going to do here? He's got the unit counts on the ground only, not in the air. Does he have enough anti-air in the ground? Well, I say he's got a lot of unit counts. He's got an abundance of skitters. He's got, rather than building army, he's gone and built a bunch of sand buggies. That can't do anything. Minus 27 from that 293 straight away for Ptasior. Nonsense. Why there's so many? Is it to give vision for his units, or is it because he worries about mines? Either way, they will be useful, and they don't take very long to build, but that's quite a lot in your build ratio. Drifters, again, still coming in. This time they're going to take out a factory. So we are starting to make headway here on the back. Ptasior's economy starting to struggle, overproducing just a little bit perhaps. 54 fabricators assisting things out somewhere. It's a nuke is what it is. That's where Ptasior's economy is going. He just has to rely on Smurf not seeing it. He is building it rather close to the front of his base there, where the air is likely to get a little bit of a snifter. Yeah, well, that was a bit of a pointless endeavour. The Aries, 80%. Omega, almost finished. We've got Hermes wandering around, and we have the advanced radar satellite. So Smurf must see the nuke. He must too. He does. He sees the nuke. Is he getting some anti-nukes up in his base? No. He's just going to hope that he has enough time to push in, I reckon. There. He sees it. Are we going to have panic anti-nukes? But the orbital space is Smurfs now. We do not have panic anti-nukes. Are we just going to get a race now? The Omega and the Aries against the nuke, which is currently sitting at 20%. Getting rushed up significantly. Ptasior now. The Aries bearing down on him. Islands are looking blue. Ptasior desperately trying to hold the front line. He cannot overcommit these front lines. If he does, he gives Smurf the opportunity to just push in. He has to buy himself time. The nuke is key here. But how is he going to follow the nuke up? It won't be a commander snipe. It'll be some kind of defensive nuke, I reckon, against an Aries. There's no way the nuke is going for the base because he hasn't got anything to follow it up to win the game. There's the anti-nuke coming up. Panic anti-nuke there. 12%. Nuke now 50%. Smurf could gradually push in here. Instead, he's content to shoot at walls. There we are. The Aries going over the crest of this hill. The klaxon for the nuke as it is built. The docks run to the Aries to smother it. It has enough vitality to withstand this, especially with all of that backup. It might just be a defensive nuke trying to do as much damage to the Aries as is mechanically possible. It's gone! The Aries is gone and also took a bunch of its army with it. Unbelievable. The nuke, ladies and gents, is ready. Where will it hit? It's going for the base. There's no anti-nuke. It's not ready. It's going to be very close. Anti-nuke just gets finished. Oh my goodness. That was close. That was close. Next nuke starting up. Ptasior banking everything on these nukes. He does not have an army. He has 43 units in the entirety of his base, and Smurf has 275 angry machines bearing down. And an Omega in the sky. They have the commander in their sights, all of them. And the nuke launcher is gone. Ladies and gents, that was one heck of a game. The commander can do naught but surrender. How crazy is that? That was indeed a crazy game. And that's all I can say. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.